My guest today is the owner of this wonderful business that I have my studio in Fort Miegs CrossFit. We talk about nerding out about a bunch of little things. She's not quite sure what she nerds out about, but we talk a little bit about a bunch of little stuff at the beginning. Go into, balancing have good work-life balance, talk about her creating this business and how it got started from when she first attended a CrossFit gym to co-owning it with several people. We get into their little gym when they first started to now where they're at and how that came to be. Talk about kids, talk about being married, and me and her are kind of similar in the fact that we always dabble in all these things, and our spouses just are right behind us 100%, just trying to help us in any way possible, and vice versa. So we talk about that. We talk about the gym and the different coaches and the classes and the stuff they have to offer here. So it was a great podcast to learn more about her and to again, so I can personally thank her for allowing me to be in her space in this studio. So listen in and please write the Nerdball podcast at gmail.com for any questions. If you want to be on the podcast, find it on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So now, here's my guest.
I'm Cindy Daudelin, and this is the Nerdball podcast.
This is the Nerdball podcast with Lorenzo Melcher.
All right, Cindy, thanks for joining me on the podcast.
Did that sound okay?
That was awesome. That was great. Yeah.
I screw up yet?
No. I appreciate you coming on, like I said. And before we start, I do want to say this. This is now my third podcast episode here. This is the Fort Miegs CrossFit Studios. If you want to know anything about what they do, it's fortmiegscrossfit.com. Best known for group fitness classes, but also have personal trainers, youth fitness, HIIT classes, which is high intensity interval training. No experience necessary. They train according to personal ability. So if you want to know anything about them, again, visit fortmiegscrossfit.com. Cindy, I do want to personally thank you because this is your gym. You're a co-owner of this Fort Miegs CrossFit Studios, or gym. This is the studio that you're in, but I appreciate you letting me use your space here.
I'm happy to.
It was. I always like when people reach out who don't know me, and you seemed right away. You're like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
Just based on people that we know together.
Right.
Yeah. So before we start, my first question I always ask is, what is something you've been nerding out about lately? Something you're really into, if it's books, cooking, movie, TV shows, if you like staring at maps, like what are you into? The only thing it can't be your job. So it's something outside of work that you're super into.
The FAFSA. The financial aid form. Not because I like it or what. No, but that was like a big thing. That was a big hurdle to get over. My daughter's going off to college, so there's that.
I remember filling those out, and as a kid, you're 18 or 19, I say as a kid, but I was like terrified I was gonna do something wrong, and then I couldn't go to college.
It's awful. That's how it makes you feel, and it's like a black hole. You put all this information in, and then you just sit and you wait. You're like, did I do it right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't as bad as I anticipated from the comments that I read before I did it. And then I was putting it off because I didn't want to deal with it. But no, just nerding out about, not one particular thing, just kind of like for me, it's always a mindset or a growth thing. Like, it's a continuous thing. It's not, it's like I can't really point to like a one thing, but I want to purge my house and declutter and, always trying to find systems or ways that I can be more efficient or just squeeze more out of my day. And I don't mean that in a productive type sense. I mean, just having even agenda free time and leisure time, because I think that's important too. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, lifestyle, wanting to know what kind of lifestyle or you want to have this particular lifestyle, and all that goes into, well, if I want to be able to sit down comfortably, then my house should be decluttered, and I should sometimes you have to make time to sit down. I know my wife makes me do that because I don't do that all the time. I'll come home and immediately start doing something else. Or that's why I coach sports all the time. And in the summer, I'm out doing yard work or something. She goes, "Can't you just sit for a little bit?" And then when I do, she goes, "You don't want to be here right now, do you?" I was like, "I'm comfortable sitting here," but in my brain, there's so much other stuff I got to do.
Oh, okay. You sound like me. Yeah. I literally sometimes in the morning I get up and my wheels are spinning and I just don't know which direction to point myself. And I'll text Adam and I'm like, help. And he already knows. He's like, just pick one thing and do it. Cause I'm just like, I have all these things I want to do. And I'm not sure what to, and that's kind of the beauty of my job, that I have that flexibility, but also then I have to figure out ways to manage my time, because I don't have somebody standing over my shoulder. I'll have Morgan. She's she's my business partner, so she helps. She's very structured and she's on the ball. She does things, in real time, fast, and so I don't know, that helps me. She kind of keeps me on track. But
well, it's good to have someone that's opposite, kind of like you guys obviously both have the same mindset. You're business partners. You want to do this thing, but as far as the actual work that needs to be done, it sounds like you guys are a little opposite, where work's going to get done by both of you, but maybe a little bit differently.
Yeah.
It's good to have
That's
that
accurate.
yin and yang part of it. So when you are, obviously you're into fitness, otherwise you wouldn't have this CrossFit gym here. What does that part being, because you got to be structured and regimented when you're doing workouts, that kind of stuff. Does that, and it sounds like it doesn't quite carry over to your home, where you're like, I want to do all this decluttering, I want to get all this stuff, but there is no structure to that kind of, especially when you said you text Adam and he goes, just pick one. But there's no I'm surprised you don't have a list of things, here's number one.
A list just wouldn't help me,
No.
because I get distracted. So
What's a big distraction from you?
I mean,
or for you?
anything.
Oh no. This podcast right now, you could be doing something else.
I just saw some birds fly by out the window. I did though, but yeah, I don't. I think as a parent, when you're raising children, there's a lot of distractions that happen, and I almost wonder if it programs you that way. When you have kids, that you have to be fluid. When you're a stay-at-home mom, which I was for most of the time. And so your main focus is them, and you don't know what's going to happen during the day. You just have to roll with it. Yeah. And your kids need you throughout the day. So you get called away from things that you're doing. And sometimes I wonder, is that why my brain works this way? Because that's just the way I was programmed with kids.
And like you said, it'd be very... you probably feel uncomfortable sometimes when you're like, oh, I got to get these things done. I can't get everything done. But if it was the other way and you had all right, we have to do these things in this order. And if that order gets disrupted, then you would feel uncomfortable too, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Or anybody with parents.
That's true.
Or I would say with kids who are parents.
Yeah.
Because I know when we plan a day and something messes it up, it's like, oh. It was everything was planned perfectly, and we could two cars were going two ways, and we had it all figured out. And then a flat tire happened, or I had to stay late at work, or this, and it just throws everything off. Yeah, and then it's even more frustrating.
Well, I can get to my commitments. It's just my day. Usually when I wake up, I'll have a plan, and my day won't look the actual day won't look anything like the plan that I had, and that happens very often. And it can be kind of frustrating and stressful. So I need help. Somebody show me what to do. I don't know.
I think that the important part of that, though, it could be frustrating. The plan didn't go as planned, but at the end of the day, did you still get things accomplished, or did things happen,
always.
Right?
I am. Yeah. I do a lot. I pack a lot into my day. I'm self motivated, and that's why you mentioned fitness and working out. I really think that is so good for me, because I can come in and turn it off for an hour and just have someone else lead the class and say, this is what the warm up is. This is what the workout is. This is what your goal is, or your form should look like. And I can just follow that lead, and I don't have to think about it, and I don't I guess sometimes I get distracted a little in class, but it's good. I just think physically and mentally, that's maybe why I love CrossFit, and it works so well for me. That whole just
being told what to do.
Method of fitness, and then the group is more motivating too, working out with a group of people. I work harder than I would alone, and I don't, I'm committed for that hour. I won't get bored and leave, or find something else to take my attention away. So that's maybe why I love it so much.
I know that sounds a little like my wife, where she makes decisions all day at work, and then when she comes home, the last thing she wants to do has to make more decisions.
Yeah, I get that.
But it's the same thing. Like when you're here in class, you're like, I don't have to worry about anything. No decisions, no planning. No, they're telling me what to do. So it is good to have that. And I guess that's what that nerd out question is about. Like, have that thing that you get away from all the day-to-day stuff and frustrating stuff, where you have this one thing where you can just sit and be focused on this, whatever it is. It could be super silly, or it could be educational because you like to read books or whatever. But it's that's why I like that question, is what gets you away from the stuff that could possibly frustrate you on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So maybe you should, maybe that's one thing you can see if you can pinpoint, like, hey, what do I like to do outside of this thing? It is a lot of little things, but maybe you can find one thing where that is a focus, like knitting, or reading these type of books or whatever.
Getting outside,
or go for a walk,
for sure.
or that kind of stuff.
100% is that me?
Yeah.
Making my heart rate go up. No, kidding. I don't even know what that was. It might happen again.
That's all right.
But that's a very calming thing, and it's a good way to center. I already know, like being outside, or I like to learn. I got a new camera this year, and I got some new camera gear, and everything is updated, and in a good way. Like, I don't like it when my phone updates. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to learn that. I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
But taking better pictures, that's kind of a blend. That's kind of a work/hobby. Passion. Yeah.
Can I tell you when you took pictures of me and you showed me one, and it's like, I mean, pictures are pictures or whatever. My brother-in-law does photography too, and then when I look at like the picture you took of me, I'm like, man, it's such a simple thing. But you talked about all the equipment and everything, but the difference between a picture on a phone or a camera 2 years ago to the one you showed me, it's crazy. Like it was so cool and so good, made me look really good.
Yep.
So
that's what good gear will do.
Yeah.
Well, and the knowledge and how to use it, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I mean. When I get electronics, I use it for what I need it. And it's like the bare minimum of stuff. Like that camera that's filming us right now, there's probably all this cool stuff it can do.
Right.
I don't have time to go into like what makes it better or what can I use it for. So I use it for exactly the reason. And it could be maybe it's a lot better. I just don't go into it more,
I know it. And that's, so maybe you learn like I do, where if somebody were to come in here and take that camera and show you, look, Lorenzo, this is what it can do. And then that would be great. But you're never going to be that person that opens up the book or whatever. Or I don't know, like, now I like how things are online and you can just read or not, watch along, I should say, not read, but it's more of a visual type education.
Yes.
So if somebody shows me, I'm a hands-on person, but I don't want to read it and figure it out that way. I don't know.
No, I get it. No, that's why YouTube is out there, to find all those YouTube videos.
That's my point. Yep.
I know even at work I use Excel and I'm not very good at it, and I have it for these two things, and that's the only reason I use Excel, is for these two things at my job. There's all these other things you could do, the different formulas and everything. I even took a class on it in college because we had to, on all the Microsoft Office gear, and I just this is what I'd use it for. That's it.
Well, we're limiting ourselves.
Definitely. Yes.
We can do better.
Let's
try.
We can, yeah. So you talked about taking classes here because this is a gym you co-own. How did you get this started? First of all, when did it get started, and how did it come to be like, hey, we should have a CrossFit gym?
2017,
Okay.
We opened the doors. It was a group of friends, and we all used to work out together at another CrossFit gym, and then that one moved, so then there wasn't one in Perrysburg, and so we thought, well, we'll just... I don't think any of us really thought it through a lot, but just we were excited. We knew we wanted to do this, and we felt like it wouldn't have to be big. We would need like maybe 30 members to cover the cost.
Okay.
We had kind of that figured out, and we hit that right away. It didn't take long at all. But like I said, there's already kind of a cell of people that were working out together that we knew wanted this type of fitness.
Yeah.
So it was just about finding a space and kind of getting the equipment. I mean, like it all came together pretty quickly. So that was in 2017. And then we outgrew that first space. It was around the corner on Eckel. And then this one became available. So we got in here. So we were happy to be in this building and this location. And we've just been growing ever since.
That the gym that you guys belonged to before you created your own, that was here. You said that was here in Perrysburg.
Yeah.
So when it left a void, and did that make it easier? Like, hey guys, that gym's not here. There's really no like CrossFit competition. So did that make you feel a little more comfortable to say like, hey, these people still want it, so let's make it.
It did. And we didn't even advertise. It was, and we were kind of tucked away in this little space. So I was always surprised when people did find us, but it was just word of mouth, and just it grew very organically, and just people, it was all a really great community. So it was easy.
And why did you not even start this gym, but before that, why did you say, hey, I want to do CrossFit as opposed to any other type of gym?
Because I was always a physical person growing up. I have two older sisters. We would be outside playing all day long. And right next door to us, there was a big family. They had a lot of kids in the family. There were 9 boys in the family. And so we just played outside all the time. We played every single sport you could imagine, like just from sun up to sundown. So I was always out playing. And then, after you grow up and you start a family, kind of that element of play goes away.
Yeah.
But I think because I played with all those kids all the time, like, and they were boys and they didn't take it easy on us. Like we played. So we learned how to throw a ball and kick a ball and ride a bike and skateboard and all those things, basketball and Frisbee. Then I played all sports in school. So I don't know, it was always a part of my life. And then I was working out and I was bored and I didn't really know. I'm like, gosh, I know I'm capable of more and I want this hour to count, but I would be on the treadmill or something, or I would look at the guys lifting weights over on the other side of the room, and I didn't feel comfortable going over there and picking up a barbell or a weight. I just never was taught. I don't know, never felt comfortable or was encouraged to do that or even really knew much about it. But my sister-in-law was the one that told me. She's like, oh, well, I've been going to CrossFit, and her husband was too. And she's like, you would really like it. And I was like, I don't know, it sounded intimidating. She's like, I promise the people are so nice and the guys are gentlemen. They're like not meatheads. There's not a bunch of swearing and stuff. And they're, just come try it. And so because I had one person that had been there and liked it and I knew kind of like, I'm like, if I just have, a buddy to go, I don't know. It's kind of like took the fear out of it. So I tried it and I told myself, okay, I'm going to do this for like 3 months. I think I said, regardless of how I feel in the beginning, I'm going to give it a fair chance, even if I don't like it. And I liked it right away. And it kind of checked all the boxes. So she was right. I liked it.
Well, like you said, it's important to have there's probably no way you would have done it if you were just like, oh, I found this thing, I'm going to go try it. But to have like somebody else there.
I don't know.
Right?
I really don't know what my original, what my first impression would be because I didn't hear about it. I didn't know anything about it.
And that was the one here in Perrysburg? Okay. Did you?
And that was 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So.
Did you, where'd you grow up? Did you grow up around this area? Okay.
I grew up in Toledo.
Okay. Awesome.
I went to Little Flower. And then I went to Central Catholic.
Oh, that's right. We talked a little bit about that because I went to a little Catholic grade school too.
Okay.
Our Lady of Lourdes. Yeah. Yeah. So how'd you make your way to Perrysburg then? From Toledo?
Oh, I moved I think I've moved about 10 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if something isn't fun for me, I won't do it. It won't hold my interest. My daughter.
Even this city, we're out of here.
No, that just goes to show you though how much I love what I'm doing. Like, this is a good fit because my daughter had this one. She had to interview me for school one time, and I think she regretted that choice because one of the questions was, how many jobs have you had? And we sat and wrote them all down and figured it all out. And I had 24 jobs. Really? Yeah. So.
Well, I have a friend right now who does, like, seems like she says every 3 years I just, that's not always bad. Like you're doing a thing, whatever job that is, you're doing 100%. You're giving it your all because this is what it is. And you're like, you know what? This just doesn't feel good anymore. I'm going to go do something else. It doesn't mean it's like you're bad at any of these jobs. It's just you're deciding on your own. Like, I want to feel better at this place.
Yeah.
Wherever I'm going to spend a majority of my time, I want to feel good about it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to move on and do some other things or experience other things. And, you know, it kind of plays into the very beginning of this episode where you talk about like, I don't know, I like a lot of things. I like a little bit of a lot of things. And
when it feels right, then that's where you land. You know,
Yeah.
and people should keep evolving and keep seeking
Yes,
and keep
yeah.
growing, and because we all have a lot to offer, and if we just limit ourselves, like we talked about,
Yeah.
you know, then we're not really living up to our full potential. But to answer your question, I grew up in Toledo, and then from there I moved around a bunch, just going to different schools, colleges. When Adam and I got married, we moved to Florida, and we lived there for, I think, 5 years, 6 years, something, 5. Anyway, and then we moved back here. But I always liked this area, so I knew I would like to settle here. I just, you know, from all the places that we lived in Toledo, Rossford, Swanton, Perrysburg, Florida, back to Perrysburg, back to Toledo, back to Perrysburg. I mean, like, we're all over the place, but we've been here now for a while.
Does Adam ever get, I guess, voice his frustration? Not frustration, maybe that's a bad word, but just like, Cindy, what's happening here? Has that conversation ever came up? And then after a while, you're like, this is just me. And then he figured it out. Well,
What do you mean? What's happening here? Like,
well, because like, and even though my dad, like I would get a job and he would think like, okay, that's his job for forever. And then I get another job. And he's like, wait, I thought this other job was your job.
Oh.
And then like,
Nope.
or so with jobs or with homes or with like any of that stuff. Like, is that just how
Never.
you've always been? I would imagine. So that's, I mean,
he is my biggest cheerleader and biggest supporter. I wouldn't even be like where I am without him.
Yeah.
That's one thing I mean, he's amazing. It took me 12 years to graduate college, and he's the one that got me through to that final, like,
Yeah.
he's, you know, was totally supportive of that. And the gym too. Like, I don't know what's going on down there. Like I had a photography studio for a while, and he came and made it beautiful, like new floors, new tile, new paint, like like hung my pictures, you know, like if this is what your passion is right now, he never gets frustrated. Same with the gym. Like he is in here all the time, just helping. Like, how can I, you know, I just think he wants to see me happy, and fulfilled, and you know, I want the same for him too. Sure. Obviously, we do make a good team, but yeah, he's very helpful and supportive.
I think that's very important, because I know for me, it's like for this podcast, I've said it here before, but for this podcast, for any other thing that I want to get into, we raise ducks for a little bit, you know, and like anything, my wife is like, all right, well, what's your plan? You know, and then she wants to be a part of it, and she wants to help me. She wants to do other stuff, you know, and I like when people, like, it's, you go to college, cool, you graduate in 4 or 5 years. For me, it took me 4 years to get my 2-year degree. For you, you know, you went to college for 12 years. Like, I think all that's important to not only to people who are listening or to adults, but even like the kids. But there's high school kids that listen to this, to know like, hey, you don't have to do everything. I got to graduate in 4 years, then I get a job, then I'm there for like everything's different all the time. Whatever is best for you is best for you, you know.
Yeah.
But it's good to hear like. I mean, I should have known. I've met Adam. He seems like a nice guy, and you guys work well together. So I should have known, like, yeah, he's going to be along. He's going to help you, and you know, he wants, like you said, he wants you to succeed, and you want him to succeed. And that's the same way I am with my wife. Like, she's behind me 100%, even if it's a ludicrous idea. You know, I think I told her one time. I used to do stand-up comedy, and I told her one time, I was like, hey, what if today I told you I'm going to quit everything and pursue stand-up comedy as my career? She's like, you would just have to show me a plan, and we'll get to it. So
that's
like,
awesome.
Yeah. So like any little
so
thing.
Our spouses aren't scared off by our craziness and our weird ambitions. No, and I say that, and he keeps me grounded too. But he's like that with our daughters as well. Like Brooke, my oldest, she wanted chickens. He's like, fine, you know, let's build a chicken coop and get some chickens. And so we did. And well, she saved her money for, what was it? Oh, we gave her this challenge, and we said, if you know you do this, we'll give you, I think it was $100, which at the time seemed like a lot of money. And she was saving for an iPad, so she did it. She earned the money, and then at the very last second, she's like, I don't want this iPad. I want, and this was before like all kids had phones and everything. You know, so it was at least 10 years ago. Okay. She said, I want chickens. And so I don't know why, and we live in downtown Perrysburg.
Yeah.
So at the time we're like, well, it doesn't say, there's kind of a gray area. It doesn't say you can't have them. So we got them. And then it was a whole thing. Like it turned into, I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah, I remember.
That was us. We were behind that whole chicken movement. But
Yeah.
in the end, we did come to an agreement. And
Do you still have chickens?
no, because we put in a pool.
Uh,
So we were allowed to keep them, but in order to keep them, we would have had to move our chicken coop over, and it would have been like right down the center of our yard. And then we would have to microchip them and get a permit. Like some of the things we just didn't want to deal with. It was kind of silly. So we just gave the whole flock away to some nice people.
Oh, nice.
And but it was a good experience for Brooke and my other daughters, they got to raise them and watch them. It was very nice enrichment, and they learned a lot, not only just like caring for these animals through all the seasons, but just like how to deal with an issue and a problem too with the city and with others. And, I don't know, it was a good learning. It was a good experience. But
I remember like just because I live in a township, so hearing about that and going through that, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I didn't know the city and the township had different rules. So when we wanted to get our ducks, I was just looking online, talking to people, and they're like, it costs $50 to get a permit, and that's all you need for a township. And it's like, and someone told me, she goes, but don't actually pay the $50 until you get in trouble, because even then it's just $50. I said, okay, so I never paid my $50.
Lorenzo is the city $50. Did you have a pond? Where did they?
Yeah, I put we built a little house for him, and I took a plastic stock pond, and I buried it in the ground, and then just had a little pump, a little fountain, like a little waterfall to pump the water around, keep it moving. But yeah, it was good. We had them for a while. We don't have them anymore. But again, the same thing, like telling my kids, hey, go collect the eggs or go feed the ducks, or to like a little job to have, little chores. They're 11 and 8 now, and sometimes I feel like we don't give them enough to do, because I just remember when I was a kid, I was always cleaning something or doing something. I always I had to clean the kitchen or do the dishes or clean the restrooms. That was always the worst job, especially when we had 4 kids in the house.
Ooh.
But just to and then I look at my kids, I'm like, they're involved in a lot of sports, a lot of school things and everything. And I just think, I was like, they just don't have daily chores. And I don't know if that's just a thing kids don't do anymore, if it's just something that we don't do. I don't know. Do your kids have chores, or did they have chores?
Yeah, when they were small, or before they had a lot of their own things going on, like sports and social life, it was easier to have a routine for them. And we have kind of gotten away from that a little bit. But I also see that they do have some big responsibilities. Yeah. They're athletes, and they have jobs during the season, like summer and when they can. But they do have some chores, but there's it kind of goes as needed.
Yes. Yeah.
Like Brooke and Sydney were out there picking up the dog poop yesterday, and I didn't care if it was wet outside, and it was so fun. I was watching them, and they were screaming and carrying on. It was so funny. But it had to happen, so someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
They do help.
Do they come here for classes and stuff too, or have they?
There was a point where all 3 of them were coming, but
nice.
Sydney's more. She's she runs for Perrysburg, and Brooke does too. But Brooke's passion is the gym. She loves to lift. She loves the strength training part of it and the competition part of it. She's actually going to get certified. She's kind of studying right now and working on getting her level 1, so that she can keep coming to class and training.
Okay.
Working. And Willow, my youngest, she comes in here too. None of them are consistent, but they love the gym, and they love being here. They love the people, mostly.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But they're in here.
That's my favorite part. My favorite part of coaching is when the kids like to come, and, my son was a water boy for us this past season, and my daughter, she likes coming to the games, and sometimes on Saturdays when she didn't have stuff going on, she'd come to the JV game and be a water girl and stuff. So I like them being part of it.
Yes.
It's the same thing here. I have this gym, we have this gym, come be a part of it. And especially if they like to do it, it's one thing hey, I'm forcing you to come in here, but it's another thing if they like it.
And that was why it worked so well when we opened the gym. It wasn't something that was taking me away from the family because the family was always here with me and they wanted to be and they loved it. So we could do this and still be together. So that was a huge motivating and deciding factor of whether or not we were going to do this. At the time they were all involved and they went everywhere I went, but now they're older and they drive. So they're not with me all the time.
That's all right. Sometimes, I guess. Did the gym that you attended before this one, did that have a family room? Because you have a kid area, family room in this building.
It had a small room where the kids could stay.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if that was something like, hey, we're building this gym and this other one didn't have it, but we have to have it especially to help like moms and parents.
Well, then our very first gym, like Fort Miegs CrossFit, we didn't have.
Well, you said it was smaller, so you probably didn't have enough space.
My original gym where I started, that one did have a little side room, and I remember I would save the kids electronic time. They only had like a certain, I think 30 minutes a day. So that's when they got to use their iPad or whatever it was while I was at the gym, and they were really good. They didn't, so they could tag along with me. But then our first, we always call it the little gym. The little gym didn't have anywhere for the kids, but they would just hang out on the side. Sure. Like we had benches there. It was just more of like they just stayed out of the way. Mm-hmm. But it's actually good because they just, by observing, they can see a lot. It's good for kids to come. I encourage it.
Yeah, I think so. Well, and you have, kids classes and stuff too for them to get started in this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I had we were sitting here. I was going to ask you questions before we started. I was like, I got to save it for the podcast. But one was because we're here recording this. This episode's going out on it's Thursday when you're hearing this, but we're recording on the 1st. And I didn't know if you were going to have a class today, but you did have class, and you're like, not a lot of people showed up. Do you feel like, because I would imagine this gym is like, everybody, and you know everyone at first name. Do you ever feel like you have to call or text people like, hey, why didn't you show up to class today? Yeah.
We do that all the time. Because first of all, I feel like it has everything probably today was because it's, everybody was up late last night, New Year's Eve. So a lot of them are either probably just going to bed or just tired from the night before. But yes, what happens here is people come in regularly to the same class, like their routine. If their work schedule allows them to come in the morning or whatever time they come, then you see the same people. So then you form friendships and relationships and you kind of bond with the people in your class. And if you're not around, people notice and they'll text you, or we do have partner workouts. So that when you partner up with somebody, you kind of partner up with the same person usually every week, and then they'll just get to know, hey, are you coming tomorrow? It's a partner workout and stuff like that. So that's kind of a nice way to just make sure that we stay engaged and people are helping one another be accountable. But yeah, if you're a regular and you're not here for a while, somebody's going to notice and reach out to you, give you a nudge. Well,
I would imagine that makes you feel, as the person who's missing class for whatever reason. You could just be sick, right? But for whatever reason, it's got to feel good. Like, hey, this community, I'm not just paying to go to this gym and they don't care about me. Like this, it's not just the people who I work out with, but the owners, and they want to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or making sure you're okay, just in general. Like, hey, you've missed the past 2 classes. Is everything good?
Right. And I've had my friends, they'll text me, are you coming to class this morning? And I'll say, oh my gosh, I have a lot to catch up on. I can't, I have laundry, like a mountain of laundry. And then they'll say, so what? Like, just let it, I can wait, get in here. And I do. And then I'm always happy. Like, you always feel so good. Like, you're glad that you did it, but it's, you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have come and put the work in, but they're right. Sometimes we just need to have our friends keep us on track, but we do help each other a lot.
When you talk about partner workouts, I would imagine as adults, you're doing a partner workout, you're always working with the same partner, most of the time you're always working with the same partner. Do you ever, and maybe this is just me being a coach and working with kids, whenever we do partner stuff, I force them to work with other people, with other kids, because kids have their friends and this is who they're going to work out with. And sometimes they don't do well with that person because they talk a lot, or whatever. But I was like, hey, you guys are always together. You're going to be with her and you're going to be with her. Like, do you ever
we don't assign, or no, not really. And sometimes it's just who's in class. Sometimes you are limited to, you might end up working out with somebody who you wouldn't, just because that's who showed up in the class that day. You know,
Yeah.
like if my friend Nicole wasn't there, then I'm going to work out with Victor, and that's okay. You know, we aren't going to use the same barbell because he's a stronger person than me, but that's okay. You know, there's always a way to make it work. And I think it's fun to step outside of your bubble. And that's why it kind of forces people to, get to know each other and under circumstances I wouldn't normally walk up to Victor and be like, oh, hey, you want to work out with me? You know, but because we're partnering and doing the same workout and sharing that work, then you get to know each other. And it just kind of, that's how the community strengthens itself by just kind of, it's the format. What was the question?
No, you
Well,
answered it.
I feel like I got
answered
off
it.
on a rant.
No. You answered it because it was just about like basically making people talk or be with different people that didn't know they wouldn't be with.
Yeah, but my first coach did do that. He would sometimes say, and I think he would just match people up to their abilities too, a little bit. Like, Cindy, why don't you go work out with so and so, and you can partner up for this one. Because if you're going to scale something, it makes sense for them to do it the same way. Because that's the other thing that is nice is if you can't do a movement or you're going to use different weights, you just do what works for you. You don't have to. Sometimes people are scared. They're like, I can't come to the gym. I can't do CrossFit. I can't do a pull up. That's okay. You don't have to do a pull up or any other movement that is programmed because there's always a plan B or a plan C.
A modified way of doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So don't let that be a reason why you don't try and it's about progressions too. Yeah, you can't do a pull up yet. Mm-hmm. But you will. You will.
I don't think I've ever been able to do a pull up.
Yet.
Yeah. I've been, I think the football player's like, hey, can you do a pull up? I said, no, I'm 280 pounds. I can't lift myself up. That's a lot of weight I got to lift up. I can.
What if you fell in a hole? What if you were walking through the jungle and you fell
I guess I had to
like...
do one of those, what do they call it? Like mom strength where there's a car and a child and they lift the car up by themselves, Maybe then.
Maybe then. Should we test that theory?
I don't know, put me in a hole.
See if you can get out.
Yeah.
We'll work on rope climbs too then while we're at it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That'll get you out.
Also, since we're here on New Year's, do you ever see, and probably not because the gym is what it is, but like the thing that always comes to mind around New Year's is like resolutions like, I'm going to work out. And like people come into the gym, they're there for a month and then you don't see them again. Does that happen here very often? I would imagine it wouldn't as at like at bigger gyms because it's just
We set goals throughout the year. I feel like every time period is a chance to start like every new day, every new week, But I feel, yes, we probably do get an influx of people at the beginning of the year. Just that seems like a natural starting point for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we used to have a program that we would begin after, but we wouldn't do it on the very 1st of January because people are still kind of settling from the holidays. And then we would wait till the kids all went back to school.
Oh, okay.
So maybe mid-January. But we do fun things throughout the year that I think are good starting points for people or reasons to come in and get started. Like we have some fun stuff coming up. We have Tough Love. That's our Valentine's Day workout. We have a fundraiser coming up. So that's the other thing too. Like people in the community, when we've had, if somebody's going through something or something tragic happens in somebody's life, we'll pull together and support them and help them. And as far as like fitness goals, like when to start, just we try to be very welcoming. Just anytime, like anytime's a good time to start. But we'll probably get a push at the beginning of the year of people that want to begin.
Do you have like knowing like, hey, there's going to be a few extra people that want to start doing things? Is there something? I know you talked about we'll do classes when the kids go back to school and we have these other fun things. Is there something like? We got to try to keep these people, not just like, hey, it's more money for us, but like if they want to do it, then let's help them do it. Is there like, not necessarily surefire ways, but there's something that you always go to be like, this is how we have a better success rate of keeping people in the gym if we do X, Y, and Z? Or is it just?
I think we try to listen to what people are asking. We're adding a noon class, so that starts tomorrow. So I'm excited about that because that will be able to accommodate a whole group of people that maybe can't come early in the morning because they're getting their kids on the bus or they work in the afternoons or that, that's just not a good time for their family dynamic. So noon, we're So we try to always have things available to fit anybody's need, or like that's why we added the high intensity interval training class, because some people want to get in here and do a challenging workout, but they don't want a lot of weights and barbell. Like they don't want those complicated Olympic lifts or anything like, that. So that is a different type of workout for them too. So just offering a variety of stuff for something for everybody. And I like when there's a busy class, that energy is good for everyone.
Yeah, when there's a lot of people in there, it just makes it that much better. Like everyone's feeding off everybody else and wanting to do more or better or lift harder or whatever. Any of that stuff. What's your favorite class that you have here? Or what do you like to do when you're working out?
I like the workouts that have a variety of movements.
Okay. That makes sense.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, sometimes you get like there's been workouts where it's like a 2-mile row or something, and that's boring to me. But there's a reason for that. There's a reason why you would program something like that, and it's good for you. And so sometimes it's like anything else. Like I might not love this workout and so that's the thing. Like you're not supposed to cherry pick your workouts. Like don't stay and work on your weakness. Like if you don't like something, that shouldn't be, you shouldn't shy away from it, you know, let that be an opportunity to learn, or there's still a benefit there for you. So I like workouts that have different movements. I like weights. I like barbell. I like cardio. I like all of it. I like it mixed up. And I'll even sometimes do that. Like, and the coaches know, and they'll let you do that. They'll encourage you to do that. Like I don't want to row for the cardio portion the whole time, I can bike or I can ski,
okay.
use a ski, or you're allowed to kind of make it fun for yourself that way. Yeah.
Do you have when I would lift weights, I would use an app, and it was like, all right, here's your workout today. Because I've coached football for a long time, but that is one thing I'm not good at, is like knowing, I can show kids like, this is how you lift, this is how you bench press, this is how you do bicep curl. Like I can show them, but I've never been able to like put together a workout plan. So I use this app, and I'd look for the next day, and I would get excited when it was legs. I like working out legs, but then if it was like abs, I'm like, I don't want to do that. But the app's telling me to do it. I got to do it, because it takes into account like, well, you did this yesterday, so these body parts should be recovered enough where you can do these exercises or whatever, And so is there like
we like the things we're good at.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like
you're
you
right.
say abs,
you
like
right.
when we have to do hollow rocks, I'm like, oh, they make me feel bad about myself.
Wait, what's a hollow rock?
It's kind of like, what a dead bug is, right? When you're on your back with your legs and your feet in the air. So it's like an ab, and so it's like you engage your core, and a hollow rock is where you kind of like rock, but your whole body is like tight. You're like in that kind of tight, like core position. Like kind of like a crunch with your arms and legs off there. So it's like it's not easy, but
legs have always been my favorite. I've always liked legs, but abs, even shoulders are good. I never like bench pressing because my arms are so long. Like I remember when I was in high school, we had a kid, I'm 6'2", and I don't remember how far I got bench press in high school, but I had to go far ways to bench press. This kid could do 300 pounds, but his arms are so short. He'd go up and then come down. And it's you bench press. Yeah, but your arms are like 6 inches long. Like it was frustrating for me because I couldn't do, it just seemed like a lot more energy, expressing a lot more energy because I had to go so far up.
Everybody has their movements that they're good at. I see that here too. Right?
Yeah.
Like some people are really good at cardio and body weight gymnastics type movements, and then we have people that are just really, really strong and can lift a lot, and you find what you're good at. And we do it all, but
if there was one thing for you personally, if there's one thing you're like, man, I wish I was better at this, or I want to be better at this, like, is there a particular thing that you...
Probably, endurance type stuff. Like barbell cycling wears me out, so I just tend to go lighter. Like I don't lift heavy, but as I've gotten older, that has changed too. The way that I approach a workout and what I want to get out of it and stuff. That's constantly, I'm making adjustments for that. But I would like to get better at like barbell cycling, like just doing this, like I'll lift over and over, like, 'cause over to like thrusters. That one, a lot of people don't like thrusters. It's hard. Like it involves every part of your body, and it's tiring. Mm-hmm. So just, I guess, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Like being able to work hard even when I'm tired or I want to move on to the next thing, but staying engaged and staying focused. You know, I know that's good for me. So
yeah. I always want to be more flexible. I'm so stiff.
Oh, mm-hmm.
I'm so stiff. I can't even I don't like sitting on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were playing a game through the on Christmas, and I can't sit cross-legged. My hips. I start getting a cramp in my hip. My knee hurts. Like I just can't do it, and I just want to be like more flexible. And I was doing yoga, a little bit of yoga at one point. I go, man, this is hard too. Like I've never done yoga, but it's fun. I like it because it's difficult. Even though, like, if you look at someone doing a pose, it just doesn't seem difficult. But when you do it, it's very difficult.
Yeah, it is. And there's different types of yoga, and some of them are really hard.
Yeah, like goat yoga. You got goats all over you. Did you ever see those? Did you ever see videos
I
of
have heard, yeah.
There's puppy yoga now. There's just puppies all over the place in the gym, and you're just hanging out, doing yoga with puppies. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I'm with you. I could be more flexible too. We all need to stretch more.
Yes, yeah. I don't know if you know who David Goggins is.
Yeah.
So I listened to him on the Joe Rogan podcast years ago, and then I got his book and listened to his book, which, by the way, like his book is really good just to read it. But if you listen to it, there's like after every chapter or every once in a while, there's like a mini podcast where he's talking to another person about like more in depth of what the book is. So it was really good and it was real inspiring. And but he was talking about when he first started working out and doing everything, and then like he stretches for like 2 hours, like every night. And I'm like, man, that's that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
But I would imagine your flexibility gets really good if you're spending that much time just sitting at home, stretching. But
we should do that. I know, like we have a foam roller. Adam he'll use it. The girls will use it. And now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, we have bands. Like, could do that. We should stretch more.
My friend got me one of those Theraguns.
Yeah.
I've never had one of those. And I like that. That's good too. Sometimes it hurts a little bit, but so does getting a massage in general, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
it hurts to be stiff too, though.
Yes,
sitting on the floor trying to sit cross-legged.
If there's one thing I could focus on, I think it would be that. And I mean, I should probably just focus on getting in the gym in general. So, but again, that's another thing. When I would do it,
you can't. You can just. You went to the gym today, right? Does that count? You didn't work out, but you're at the gym.
I guess it's baby steps, right? I'm here, right?
We'll get you. We'll get you down there.
What? Not explain, but tell me a little bit about your coaches, because you have several coaches here. Can you go through and do they all do the same classes? Do they have like specialties or stuff that they know, like this is what I want to teach?
Cody, he teaches he's our full-time coach. He teaches our barbell class and a lot of our CrossFit classes.
Okay. Bart
is down there now. He's he teaches like the Sunday classes, and Amanda teaches our HIIT class, but they all teach, they all coach CrossFit.
Okay.
Yeah. And most of them have like other full-time jobs. Corey's here in the afternoons, and Matt, he fills in. He's got kind of a crazy work schedule, but they're all just amazing. They all do CrossFit. They all love it. I feel like they took it next level because they like CrossFit and working out, that way, that they went and got certified and teach for us now. So, yeah. But yeah, they're all capable of coaching any of the classes that we offer. And kids class. Like I said, my daughter Brooke's been jumping in on that, and Ryan she's going to be doing this next session that starts. When does it start this week or next week? I need to check, but we have a kids class, a new session coming up. So yeah, they all
teach everything.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you teach any classes?
No. I never got certified.
That's just something that you didn't want to do. You just like, well, if I hire or if I bring on really good coaches, then it leads me to do, these other things or run the business, right?
No, like to be honest, I have thought like I would like to be certified. I would like to go through that course and just to, learn and have that certification. But I've been around CrossFit for so long. I feel like it would probably be a natural and easy transition for me to do that. But I don't know that I would take it like to want to actually coach,
Yeah.
But I don't know why I never did. I just never did. And honestly, like this position that I'm in right now has evolved. It didn't start out for me to be where I'm at. Like Adam is technically the one that started, but we were just kind of a package deal. And he has his own business, so he's busy, and I do this.
All right. Yeah. Well, again, that would be a lot to do. Also, like, hey, I gotta. I'm co-owner of this business. And, I forgot. I gotta go.
Morgan
to
does
class right now. Yeah.
So yeah, she coaches a lot, and she can coach all the classes too, and she does. So it's nice. I just feel badly sometimes that I'm not able to help in that way. Like that would be a motivating factor, because if I were certified, then I could jump in and help if there was a class that needed covered or something like that. So
Yeah. Well, maybe you can get certified just for that reason. Like
Right.
you get certified, and then you don't have to do a class every day or every other day, but
Yeah.
just to have it in your back pocket, saying like, hey, if something happened, I could step in if need be. You
Yeah.
know? I guess just knowing that you have that capability might make everyone feel better. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not making you want to do anything you don't want to do.
But we have a group going in 2 weeks to get certified in Columbus. So
Do you find that like the people who are going through the class, like I would imagine those are the ones who are like, you know what, I want to do this too. I want to be a leader, and I would imagine some of those in your gym are like, hey, can I be part of that too?
sometimes it takes me initiating that conversation. I see potential in some people. I see these characteristics that I know would make a really good coach, and then like I approach them and ask. I have like personally just pinpointed a few people because I've worked out alongside of them, and I hear the cues that they're giving to their partner, or just their work ethic, or their attitude, or just their leadership skills, and I think this person would make a really great coach. And then I ask them like, have you ever considered, like, would you consider, and that usually ends up in a yes. Like I haven't done that a lot. But that is one of the ways.
But now people are going to hear this, and you're going to have like 14 coaches in one class now. Like, hey, everybody. Well, that's good. That's good that you can recognize that and see that.
Yeah.
And same thing, like for me in football, like I know there's certain kids like that. If you want to coach football, I think you'd be really good at coaching football, and you can see that. You can see that. My kids have been involved in sports since they were really little, and you can see that right away. Like, who's the little coach out there, or who's the one that can lead, and then if they decide that's what they want to do, maybe it's not coach that sport, but maybe they're the leader of a business, or but you can see it pretty early. Like this is what this kid should do.
Yeah.
When he gets older.
The coaches we have now, they all came to us that was the decision that they individually made. Like they wanted to coach, and they took upon themselves to go get certified. And there's different levels too. Like some are level 2, some have kids certification. Like there's other certifications that you can get. And you can it's like anything else, like the continuing education, you can just add layers to that.
Yeah.
So we encourage that.
Oh, nice. You talk about the kids class. What's the age range there for kids classes?
10 to 14.
Okay.
And then some of the kids, they've like evolved into the adult classes too. So once they get old enough, and some of those athletes, they would come in because they're involved in another sport and they wanted to just find something to supplement their training. And then as a result, their parents would come, and we have a lot of families here, like parents and children, like the whole families that are into it now because of one person came in for whatever reason, and so then it just kind of grows.
Drags everybody else
Yep.
in. Like, hey, after a while, like, guys, I've been coming here for 3 months. Somebody's coming with me.
Yeah,
Someone else is going to do
It's neat
this
to
thing.
see that that happens.
Yeah, yeah. If there is, what is your like? I'll give you this time. Like, what is your advertisement for this gym? Like, what if someone's new to never done CrossFit, or they hear this and they're like, oh, I didn't even know that existed in Perrysburg.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is something that you would want to tell people about this gym, or to be a part of this gym, or what it how it feels.
And
or
while
anything.
it brings so much to your lifestyle, it's so much more than just coming in and burning calories for an hour. You really get a lot out of it as far like just the growth mindset that we have here and the well-rounded, just like healthy lifestyle that we promote as far like nutrition, not just exercise and physical fitness, but well-being across the board is what we encourage and promote and try to, make connections for you when you're here too. Like if there's something that you need or that you're working on, the community here, it's more than just it's just so much more than just a gym. It really is a family feel, where we help each other and encourage each other. And I know everyone here feels like family. I feel like I've known them my whole life.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a good environment, very warm, welcoming environment. And it can be hard to start something new, especially when you're not feeling like you're where you want to be. And I think I would just tell people, don't be scared. Don't be scared to come in and try. We'll help you. That's why we're here. That's what we love to do. We want you to come in and we want the opportunity to help you reach goals or make changes.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Cindy, not only for coming on the podcast, but for allowing me to record in your wonderful office space up here. Again, if you want to know any information about CrossFit, it's here at Fort Meigs, fortmeigscrossfit.com. They got all the information out there. Cindy, thanks again for coming on here.
Thank
it was
you.
really good.
This was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Nerdball podcast. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you watching now on YouTube. So please subscribe to that. We have most of our listeners are not subscribers. So if you subscribe, hit that little bell. It doesn't really, hurt you, but it helps us immensely. Find us on all social medias: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Please write the show at thenerdballpodcast@gmail.com. Just interact with the podcast. Like if you'd like to be on the podcast, interact and see if I can get you out here and get you interviewed. We are on. We now have a podcast network, the Nerdball Network, and that our new show is 3 Different Dads. It was on here for a while, and now we created our own feed. So please subscribe to that wherever you listen to this podcast. We're also on YouTube at 3 Different Dads. Any of the social medias, it's the number 3 Different Dads on Twitter and Instagram, and we have a Facebook page, 3 Different Dads. So please like those pages and subscribe to wherever you listen to this podcast. We're having a lot of fun with that. So please let's get that going. Thanks as always to Cuttlefish Graphics, the Junior High STEM Lab, and Big Daddy Graphics for helping out the podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.